Hello, Promise Scholars. We're back with it. Week 2. Week 5. Junie B. Chapter 5. Talking it over. I did what Mr. Scary said. I stayed in my seat and I thought very hard about what just happened here. First, I tapped on my chin. Then I scratched my head and I strained and strained my brain. But nothing actually came to me. Finally, I tapped on Herbert. Okay, I give up. What just happened here? I asked. Why is Mr. Scary so mad at us? Herb did a shrug. I'm not really sure, he said. We died in a pile of money. Who wouldn't do that? May jumped up and pointed to herself. I wouldn't, that's who, she said. I did not dive in the pile of money. Instead, I walked around the edges with dignity, and I picked up whatever money squeezed out. Herb looked curious at her. How much money squeezed out? May stood there a minute. None, she said. Exactly, said Herbert. May sat back down. Herb looked at the board and sighed. I have a feeling that Mr. Scary really hates our thankful list. May threw her head back. Of course he hates our thankful list, she said. Just look at how stupid it is. She hurried to the board and she read each item out loud. Cranberry jelly in a can, exploding biscuits, Nipsey Doozles, rainbow sprinkles, toilet paper, and money. I scratched my head again. I didn't see the problem, I said. I think we have a nice little assortment there. May stamped her foot. It's stupid, Junie Jones. Stupid, 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 she said. Who in the world is thankful for toilet paper? Sheldon raised his hand. I am, he said. My grandpa, Ned Potts, say that toilet paper was one of the greatest inventions in history. Especially after they put that little cardboard roly thing inside. I nodded. Yes, I said, that cardboard roly thing is a genius. If you put some string through it, it makes a lovely necklace for Mother's Day. Jesus jumped up. Plus, if you have 2 of them, you can make binoculars. He said, I make binoculars and spy on my sister, and they really, really work. May did a hefty breath at us. Well, I don't care what you guys say. My mother, Miss Mary Murky, says our list from yesterday is ridiculous. She says children are never thankful for the right stuff. And so that's how come she started a brand new list. She reached in her pocket and pulled out the list. My mother says if we use this list, we will win the contest for sure. She unfolded it. Who wants to hear it? Who wants to hear the brand new list my mother started? No one raised their hand. May read it anyway. Our thankful list by Room 1. Room 1 is thankful for our mother, who cover us in blankets of warm, fuzzy love and make our hearts overflow with joy bubbles. Number 2. Room 1 is thankful for the happy sound of our mother's laughter as it tinkles through the air and melts like musical snow crystals in our ears. Number 3. Room number 1 is thankful for May. The end. May looked up and grinned. I added that last one myself, but I think it fits right in, she said. She folded her list up again and she skipped back to her seat. At first, Room 1 did not say any words. We just stared at each other with curious eyes. Then finally, Lenny spoke up. I think we should stick with the Nipsey Doodles, he said. All of the children got relief in our faces. Yes, me too, we said. May's face looked angry at us. She stomped her foot again. I knew this would happen. I told Mother you people wouldn't listen. She covered her head with her sweater. All of us ignored her. We looked at the board some more. Then all of a sudden, Shirley clapped her hands again. Hey, wait, I've got an idea. Let's put something on that list that every grown-up likes. That way, Mr. Scary will be happier with us. And maybe we'll get more votes from the grown-up judges. I thought for a second, yeah, but what does every grown-up like Shirley? I asked. I don't even have a clue. Shirley thought for a second too. Then she sprang right up. I got it. And it just came to me. Nature, she said. Every grown-up loves nature. They love flowers and trees and mountains and oceans and other junk like that. She clapped her hands. Plus, every grown-up I know loves cute little forest animals, she said. Let's put that on the board. Let's put cute little forest animals. She ran to get the chalk. Sheldon quick stood up. No, Shirley, wait, he called. My Aunt Bunny is a grown-up, but she doesn't love forest animals. Last summer, she had a run-in with a raccoon. It jumped on her head, and then it just sat there like a hat. He did a shiver. For a very long time, he said. Herb nodded. My mother doesn't like forest animals either, he said. Last year, we went to the state park, and a squirrel spit on her when she handed him a Frito, he said. He looked disturbed. She said a bad word. We have it on video. Lenny raised his hand. My grandmother doesn't even like that forest. He said, last year we took her camping and she got her foot stuck in a pork and beans can. He covered his face, very embarrassed. She said she was trying to make camp slippers. After that, all the other children started telling terrible nature stories too. Shirley hung down her head and went back to her seat. I leaned over and patted her. Don't feel bad, Shirley, I said. Being thankful is just harder than we thought. He held up his thankful bag. I brought in a TV remote, but now that seems as stupido, he said. He looked over at Roger. I wish I had forgotten mine like you did, Raj, he said. Roger squirmed in the chair. Well, I didn't really forget mine, Jose, he said. I brought in a can of whipped cream, but I squirted it in my mouth before school started. Hey, Jesus smiled. Who wouldn't, he said. Just then, we heard feet in the hall. Shh, shh, Mr. Scary is coming. Mr. Scary is coming. We whispered to each other. Room 1 got speedy quiet. And Mr. Scary and Lucille walked right in the door. And we did not get caught talking. Mr. Scary took Lucille back to her chair. She fluffed her shiny hair and she did a spin. I didn't even get in trouble, she said. All I had to do was put my money in the safe, and I had to promise not to throw dollars at poor people. Mr. Scary frowned his eyebrows. I don't really think that was our message, Lucia, he said. We talked about not bragging, and we said that having money doesn't make you better than anyone else. Remember that? Lucia fluffed some more. Nope, she said. Then she skipped in a circle, and she twirled herself into her chair. Mr. Scary looked at the rest of us. Boys and girls, I'm sure you all know that diving for money was not a good decision, correct? He said. Correct, we shouted. We did not really believe that, but sometimes it is just better to shout correct. Okay, good, he said. Then if all of you promise to behave like ladies and gentlemen, we'll get on with the show and tell. We promise, we shouted. Mr. Scary smiled. We relaxed our shoulders. When a teacher smiles, everything feels better. That is the end of chapter 5 of Junie B. Thank you for listening, Promise Scholars, and have a great weekend.